energy we want, the kind of effort we want. When you speak that out loud and you tell somebody and they hold you accountable to that, that's powerful.
Yes, sir.
I'm asking you just to talk to one. I'll stand here in front of 52. I'll play myself for you.
Yes, sir.
Every play, as much as I got, I'm going to give it to you. Tell one guy on the way out. All right? Let's go prove something to ourselves, the kind of team we can be. Defense, play 60 minutes, dominate. Offense, we get up, close the Bengal game out. Special teams, big plays for us and against them. Let's go, all phases. Let's be the team that we can be. Let's go. Pound that rock on 3. 1, 2, 3. Pound that rock. I'm serious. Grab one guy and grab him and tell him, you hold me accountable to the kind of focus we want, the kind of energy we want, the kind of effort we want. When you speak that out loud and you tell somebody and they hold you accountable to that, that's powerful.
Yes, sir.
I'm asking you just to talk to one. I'll stand here in front of 52. I'll play myself for you.
Yes, sir.
Every play, as much as I got, I'm going to give it to you. Tell one guy on the way out.
Coveted defensive line prospects in high school, Coach Nick Saban was able to get the state's defensive MVP to Baton Rouge to join his rising LSU program.
I was fortunate enough to be the defensive coordinator at LSU when we recruited Kyle Williams out of Ruston, Louisiana. Unbelievable athlete, helped us win a national championship at LSU in 2003. Threw the shot put in high school. Great baseball player. Little known fact, he's an outstanding golfer as well. But you watched his high school tape, you saw his motor, you saw how hard he played and how important it was for him to be an elite player. Came to our campus at LSU in Baton Rouge, and then you saw his block recognition. Again, you saw his motor, you saw his leadership ability and all the intangible qualities that he possessed, and had an unbelievable career there at LSU. And then you go on to 13 years with the Buffalo Bills and what he accomplished in the National Football League. You know, it's my honor to congratulate you, Kyle, on your induction to the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame. Congratulations.
Williams took over as a starter at defensive tackle midway through the first 2003 season on a team that won the BCS National Championship, beating Oklahoma in the Sugar Bowl. Williams, in 46 games at LSU, posted 16.5 sacks with 26 tackles for loss. He earned second-team All-America honors in his senior season of 2005. A fifth-round pick of the Buffalo Bills. Williams became a star in his 13 NFL campaigns, making the Pro Bowl 6 times and becoming a favorite of the Bills Mafia by the time he retired in 2018. He finished with 48.5 sacks for the Bills, starting 178 games. He was inducted into the Greater Buffalo Sports Hall of Fame last year.
Hello, Kyle. Congratulations on the great honor of being inducted into the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame. Outstanding achievements here in Buffalo. You did a great job in leading our team. Obviously, terrific player on the field, but to be honored in your home state, I don't know if it gets any better, Kyle. You are most deserving. You're a tremendous person, outstanding athlete, and we look forward to watching you continue to be a role model for others, both at the collegiate level, the high school level, and for sure at the professional level. Thank you, Kyle, for your years of service, and congratulations.
I just wanted to say congratulations to Kyle Williams on this great honor of being inducted into the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame. Super happy for you, Kyle. Super happy for your family. Jill, I hope you don't cry that crying face that you cried when Kyle retired. A, B, Kyle, I hope you smile a little bit tonight and enjoy the moment that you've earned. And congrats to everyone in the Williams family.
Williams, in the article in the Hall of Fame program, said, quote, "I was going to try to be my best and be the best teammate I could." Committee thought his everyday best was very good indeed. Tonight, he joined.
What's up, everybody? What's up, everybody? LSU Odyssey Live begins, and it is Friday. Excited for Friday. not excited for the obvious thing here where this is a story I would have loved to have broken. Kyle Williams returns to LSU, hired as the D-line coach. Gerald Chapman was approached, said no to LSU. Randall Joyner was approached, said no to LSU. And Al Davis from Missouri was approached and said no to LSU. Kyle Williams had just left Ruston. And this was a chance for him to really make that step that no one saw coming. I mean, the whole time in the background, I'm literally thinking, Kyle Williams just left Ruston. Kyle Williams. And I know Brian Kelly loves Kyle Williams. But there's no way he's going to hire a guy from high school, because I stupidly listened to a certain expert. I stupidly listened to someone who I should not have. I'll just say that. Somebody actually, interestingly enough, many people listen to every day, but I should not have listened to him. He became a source and led me down a very foolhardy path of this is definitive, this is happening. When in reality, I had these sources on the other side literally screaming at me, delete this. It's not going to be Al Davis. Start over. Talk to me, man. Call me. Oh, bro, yeah. Okay, I'll call you, but give me a second. Oh, yeah. It's all good. I know what's going on here. Foolproof here. Absolutely would have loved to have broken the news that Kyle Williams was going to be given this shot. Because this is awesome. This is great. This is fantastic. My reaction to this, to Kyle Williams given the job, for me, Kyle Williams, he's going to bring you at least, and if this is being the most cynical, he's going to at least be there for 2-3 years straight, which LSU has not had since 2020, 2021 with Bill Johnson. Okay. So he's going to be there and at least be in the foxhole with the defensive lineman for at least a little while here. Okay. He gives you that longevity. But here's the thing. Even though he's gone jumping from Ruston, a high school team, to coaching for LSU, which is a big jump, and you don't see it very often. It's very rare to see this jump made. In fact, the last time I've seen this type of a hire made for LSU was when Robert Steeples left DeSmet from Missouri and joined LSU as the corners coach. And LSU actually ranked 32nd in pass defense that next year, reliant on a lot of transfers and a lot of ragtag personnel. But it's hard to know how this will pan out in the immediate future. Kyle Williams is LSU's D-line coach. What I do know is there is going to be no one else you could get on this list that is going to be more loyal to LSU. There's going to be no one that you could get on this list of people who refused LSU or maybe people that were next in line that are going to, give you that loyalty, give you that longevity, but also is going to be as committed as Kyle Williams is going to be to being the best coach that he can be, just like he did as an athlete at LSU in Buffalo. This dude, man, you heard some of his career accomplishments: Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame, 2003 national champion at LSU, 178 career NFL starts for the Buffalo Bills. How many seasons did Kyle Williams play in the NFL? Let me look that up real quick. Good Lord. I mean, 13 seasons. 13 seasons with the Bills. My God. 6 Pro Bowls. Wow. Wow. That's nuts. That's nuts. Kyle Williams, man. I'm excited for this because one of the key players in this room, Ahmad Bro, knows exactly what LSU's room is going to get out of this guy before he's in the room. So you got Ahmad Bro literally hyping Dom McKinley up, hyping everyone else, Jacoby and Giller, hyping all these guys up, saying, listen, man, you thought Bo Davis was a badass? This dude is like an actual tiger. This guy put it all on the line for LSU in the early 2000s. He started the dynasty alongside Chad Lavallee in probably, I think you could say, maybe not easily, but I think you could say without a doubt that Lavallee Williams was the best defensive tackle tandem in LSU history. I think that's I don't think that's really maybe it's a debatable thing, but I think it's pretty much consensus. But he's going to have a lot of wisdom to share about how to raise your level and be a great defensive lineman. And he's gonna raise that room's level, I believe, because he's not 1 foot in, 1 foot out the door. I think Bo Davis would have stayed for 2025 had this not happened with the Saints. Bo Davis would still be here. But after this season, especially if LSU had been successful in 2005, Bo Davis is gone. He's climbing the tree to that next place, and because that's how Bo is, especially now that Nick Saban's gone. But, he wanted to stay in Louisiana to be alongside his parents and the Saints, so he was going to stay at LSU for a bit here. But when the Saints job opened up, it was kind of the best of both worlds. And someone disillusioned with the new way that college football has gone with the NIL and all that stuff, transfer portal, the lack of loyalty from all sides, the money-driven spectacle of it all, social media-driven, popularity contest, stars matter more than grit, actual on-field accomplishments, all that stuff. It's understandable why Bo Davis would have tapped out and said, I'm done with this shit. But Kyle Williams, he's coming into this thing fresh from already coaching kids of this age. It's not like he's having to adjust. So you wonder about how successful he can be in year 1, year 2. Okay, I understand that, especially with a thin room. I don't think you can fully judge Kyle Williams' greatness and full scope as a defensive tackle. A defensive line coach for LSU until you get to that year 2, year 3 at least. Because not only you got to watch him recruit his own full class, but we got to see the development of guys like Bro in totality, the development of guys like McKinley in totality. Once Kyle Williams, if maybe Jacoby and Guillory comes on and has his best season ever, which I fully expect if Guillory can come back healthy, he's going to play a lot of snaps and he's going to play well and he's going to have his best season like he was going to have this last year before injury in week 2. Guillory was looking good. I was there in Vegas against USC. He looked good in that middle. That's why USC only had like one big rushing play the entire night. Savion Jones also a great game in that one. But for me, yeah, this isn't the hire I expected. And I was stupid for not expecting it because I'm going to give a shout out to Peg Red. I'm literally like, Al Davis has been offered the job, all this stuff. I'm hearing that and I knew that for a fact that was going down. And you don't have to just take my word for it. I think it was Matt Moscona actually also reported that Al Davis was offered the D-line job from LSU. Obviously refused. But I don't think of Kyle Williams as like the plan C or D here, I don't think of that. I think of Kyle Williams actually as probably like, maybe addition by not subtraction, but I don't know what the word would be, but addition by just like you thought you lost all these great targets, you thought you lost all these great names, and you had a diamond in the rough in Louisiana high school system in the LHSAA right there in your own backyard. Kyle Williams, absolute Tiger legend, returning as the D-line coach. And that became official. It's signed, it's sealed, it's delivered. Everything is full completion. And he's going to be their D-line coach for the opening of spring football, which begins tomorrow. It's gear up for LSU football now. And you're probably going to see the Brian Kelly interviews from certain people coming out. Jacques Doucet always gets one. Michael Cobble always gets one. I'm sure Wilson Alexander will get one. You'll see those type of things where Brian Kelly will be giving us more details on some of the future personnel and things like that for LSU, some of the little details. And I would love to see Kelly be closer to the vest with some of these some of the information that he gives out, because I find it a little hypocritical that, sometimes we've gotten in trouble for, hey, you're giving out too much information. The opposition is going to know this and this, know where Perkins is playing and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, holy shit. Did you not hear Brian Kelly's SEC teleconference? He literally said we can't have Harold Perkins playing linebacker anymore. Where the fuck else is he going to put Harold Perkins? You know what I'm saying? Like, duh, he's going to put him at star. Like, or, someone, hey, how dare you report that Whit Weeks is going to start? You're giving out information to the other team. It's like, did you hear Brian Kelly literally say we have to have Whit Weeks on the field now for every play? Did you not hear that? I think Brian Kelly basically just announced that, actually. Like, we didn't even need a source here. So it's just kind of funny. Brian Kelly will actually give out a lot of information more than he needs to. And I think this is a team, this is a new system, a new elevation you've got on both sides of the ball here. Baker going into his second year, yes. But there is some staff change underneath him. And then you got, on the offensive side, Hankton Sloan, who this is great longevity and continuity with these two. We did not think we could keep both of these guys for 4 years now, entering their fourth season at LSU. Sloan and Hankton. And I expect those two to only get better at their roles, especially with Alex Atkins coming in and handling the running game. I think that'll certainly make things better. But this is a team where you're going into 2025 spring where all these pieces are kind of falling together. And Kyle Williams, for any of his shortcomings as a D-line coach coming into the college football ranks from high school, for any of he's not going to be good enough, I don't believe any of that bullshit, because here's why. I think his intensity, it's all about getting the best out of your players. Literally, if I was the best at getting the best out of the wide receiver room or something, then okay, hire me for the job. If Joe Brady was the best at somehow, even though he doesn't coach linebackers, somehow getting the linebackers juiced up, then hire it. Like, you've seen Frank Wilson before games hyping up guys who are have nothing to do with the running backs, because it's just football players. And that's another thing about Kyle Williams is this dude, probably a future collegiate head coach. I just don't think there's any limit to where this guy could go. And I just think he's going to drive for that success. Is there going to be maybe some growing pains? Yes, probably. Is there going to be some errors made like LSU Odyssey has done a few times here? Yes, there's going to be probably. But I'm actually excited that we're going to have a D-line coach who's going to be at LSU for more than just one season for the first time since 2021. And really, if you look at the list, it's quite a shameful list. Not the names of the coaches. It's actually great, the names we've been able to have coach the D-line. It's the shame is you only had Andre Carter for a year. Only had Jamar Cain for a year. Bo Davis for a year. Pete Jenkins actually gave you back-to-back. Bill Johnson actually gave you back-to-back, but he only got the job because Meatball Johnson, who only gave you a year, tore both of the ACLs in his knees. Kyle Williams, I think you're going to see it be 2025, 2026, 2027. This guy I think is going to be at LSU for a while. Let's look to the comments. 1 second, everybody. Let's load up some comments. Cole Adams says, I love this hire. Muschamp was my son's position coach at LSU. Kyle was undersized for a nose tackle, but his technique, sorry, I can barely read here. His words are so small, but his technique and Tiger Heart made him the champion he was. Wow. Your son's position coach, Cole. King Cole, who is your son, man? I'm going to have to look this up now because I can find that out quick. Cole says, Kyle ate up blocks that allowed Marquise Hill and Marcus Spears free reign from the defensive ends. Absolutely. And those guys ate them up. Absolutely. Great point, my man. Cole. Any D lineman with NFL, sorry, I can barely read this. Any high school D lineman with NFL would be crazy not to with NFL. What does that mean? Any high school D lineman with I guess with NFL like ambition would be crazy not to learn from Kyle. Okay, I mean yeah. Oh yeah. Okay, here we go. Aspirations. Yeah. That's exactly what I was thinking. These guys, Bro, McKinley, I just think they're going to get better under this dude. Guillory, it's a thin room. Sean Washington, Walter Mathis Jr. It's such a thin room. It's such a thin room. Cole Adams says, Sider Mitchell as well. Cole Adams says, I think he just unplugged the D-line coach carousel for the foreseeable future. Cole, your comments have completely screwed my brain up. Like, I'm expecting a certain way of writing a word or saying a word, and you like completely write it a different way. It's hilarious. I'm thinking foreseeable, and you're foreseeing future, which I guess is like it fits, it works, and it's not like incorrect to use. But my brain is just like, what in the hell? It's hilarious. Cole Adams says, I can see Kyle Williams learning college coaching and moving up with LSU when Baker never gets a head coaching job. Tiger forever. I mean, we say that and then these guys leave. You know, like there's times that we got to be honest with ourselves and say like there's guys who just use LSU as a way to get to that next rung on the ladder, which for them is the NFL, whether that's, you know, players as mercenaries coming through the portal or, you know, a Slade Nagel who comes for a season, a Bo Davis who comes for a season, a Joe Brady who comes for a season. These guys who are very careerists. And whatever. I have no issue with this. I have no issue with Bo Davis leaving LSU. I have no issue with you know, however he did it. You know, that's fine. You wanted more money. You wanted to coach in the NFL. You didn't want to coach high school kids anymore. It's okay. Have some drink. It's okay. I still respect Bo Davis as, you know, a Tiger in spirit, but Kyle Williams, man, it's great to have him in that position because I think he's going to activate some of those kids just in the right way that you're going to have a room that you can be proud of. You know, this defensive line has been it's been bad. Let's be honest, because it's all about the big games, right? It's all about winning the games that matter. It's not about, oh, this guy put up 3 sacks. You know, we've had guys who put up 3 sacks in like 4 of the last 5 seasons. Ojulari had 3 sacks in a game. Mason Smith had 3 sacks in a game. Harold Perkins had 4 sacks in a game. It really should have had like 5. You know, we've done this and that. Braden Swinson had 3 sacks in a game this last year. We have had guys put up some interesting sack numbers, but they never come close to what they should be. They're, 4.5, 5.5, 6.5 at the most. And then Perkins had that year where he had like 7.5. That is the most. Braden Swinson's 8.5 is the most since Arden Key broke the all-time record, set the all-time record for LSU with 12. So LSU, you actually look at 2019 as the season where LSU's defensive tackle play started to really go down, not even downhill, I'll just say off a cliff. I mean, and you had elite players. Jaquelin Roy, Jacobian Giller were both 2 of the most highest pursued defensive tackles in their class, the 2020 class. And Jaquelin Roy, man, I feel like we only got just a sliver out of what he could have been. Tyler Shelvin, he only had that 2019 season, which thank God he was able to experience that. And thank God he was able to deliver for us in that season and, play a key role in that 2019 championship because he was that defensive tackle that we had to have out there to win games, to really actually help that defense that was starting to bleed yards and give up too many points. Tyler Shelvin was the guy who was kind of the no mas, would kind of help us in that interior. You need defensive tackles to not only set your edge guys alive and to stuff the run, but it's to really wear down an offense. Because if you're having to play every single rep against a defensive tackle tandem that are full on, a Lavallee, a Williams, you're having to deal with 2 animals like that. Oh my God. It's going to be a long, long night. And so you got Ahmad Bro. You got Dominic McKinley, 5-star, who actually, had multiple sacks as a freshman. The kid actually was able to pull off multiple sacks as a freshman versus Oklahoma, too. Against a running quarterback who was having success running the football, Dominic McKinley. He had a great ending to the season. Ahmad Bro constantly contributed and was constantly fantastic for LSU. And he got a lot of snaps for a freshman. Now, the question is, are they ready to take that next step? Is it possible for them to take that next step as a sophomore in year 2? I think yes, absolutely yes. Not just for McKinley, but for Bro as well. And I think it's because they're going to be splitting time at least or in rotation with Jacoby and Guillory, Sean Washington, Sider Mitchell. And so you're going to have Jacoby and Guillory probably be the best rated maybe among them all, or the veteran guy you can rely upon maybe, while like Dominic McKinley's the flashy, young, statistical, like get the sacks type of guy, get some real penetration type of dude. And then Sider Mitchell is going to give you some good snaps off the bench and maybe has an even higher ceiling than we even know about. Maybe he could be a starting presence. I know some people will laugh and mock that twin priv, but you just never know a player's limitations, especially when they get in the hands of a coach like this, where, man, if you're going to be playing for Kyle Williams, you're going to have to be giving everything you fucking have on every single play. It's not just going to be a demand. It's going to be like, this is your life is on the fucking line. Like Kyle Williams is going to bring the intensity back to the defensive line, especially the defensive line interior. And then you got Kevin Peoples working with him on the edge. Our front is in good hands. I'm not saying that like Joe Pesci in Home Alone. Your home's in good hands, and then I'm going to rob it. I'm really meaning that I think Kyle Williams knew the college game, whatever. Kevin Peoples is there to help guide him along as well. Brian Kelly's going to be helping him as well. Blake Baker's going to be helping him. Everybody's going to be helping him along here with anything that he needs help with. And Kyle Williams there's no ego with him. He's not going to, hey, I know all about everything with defensive line. I'm fine. I don't need anybody else's help. He's going to actually look into resources for help that he needs, if he needs it. He's going to figure out, hey, wait a minute. How can we figure this out to do this better? What is the solution? He's not going to tolerate a defensive interior that's just going to give up, 200 plus, 250 plus rushing yards. A shocking statistic that we wrote in one of our articles last season. I believe it was after the A&M game. Or no, sorry. It was after the Florida game. In all of LSU's SEC losses combined, like on average, LSU give up over like 250 rushing yards per game in those losses. It was incredible. Like the numbers are incredible. There's been 300-yard games allowed to Ole Miss. You saw what Alabama did to us last year. Like there's just been some games. A&M with Devin Ashane. There's just been some games that have just been intolerable from an LSU perspective. Running defense, stopping the run. And it starts with your defensive interior. It starts with your defensive tackles. How could it not? The ball's going right through there. And even if you're saying, oh, well, they're running it to the outside, so what? If your defensive interior blows up the inside guys on an outside run, you're going to have players get into the backfield or at least get to, that ball carrier and stuff him after, maybe only just a yard or two at the most. So if you have defensive interior who can stuff these plays, blow plays up, if you have defensive interior guys who can penetrate and finish, just like that sounded so terrible. That sounded so penetrate and finish. But it's true. It's true. If you have these profiles of defensive tackles, which we do, but here's the thing: LSU are so thin at defensive tackle. LSU are so thin. Like literally, let's go through the names here. Jacobian Guillory, and he's recovering from a torn Achilles. And that's not counting him out whatsoever. That's just simply saying that's going to take some time, and that's probably going to be meaning that, hey, against Clemson, I don't think he can just play the whole game. You're not going to want to rush him back from an injury like that and lose him in week 1. You have to be careful with him. So I think you got Guillory playing a lot of these reps, but you've got Bro, you've got McKinley probably next to him sharing reps as well. Sider Mitchell, who knows what you're going to get from him. He's a wild card in that room where he could be really good for LSU, the Texas transfer. But there's also a place where he's very injury prone. There's a state of the union with Sider Mitchell where he's very injury prone. He's gained a lot of really bad weight at times at Texas, but Bo Davis kind of whipped him into shape. And now I don't think he's going to be messing around with a guy like Kyle Williams. I'll just say that. And I don't think he's going to want to. I think you got a room that's very pumped up. Walter Mathis Jr. as well. I'm trying to think of any freshmen that I might be leaving out with it for the defensive tackles. But LSU, Sean Washington, of course, still it's thin. It's a thin room. I mean, you would love to have gotten at least one big name transfer. And Sider Mitchell, yeah, he was a good pickup. But you really would have wanted to get a top tier guy, like a guy on the level of a Patrick Payton, like we got on the edge. But here's the thing. Now is the moment where Ahmad Bro, now is the moment for Dominic McKinley, now is the moment for Jacoby and Guillory, where we don't have anybody else. Simply put, you guys have to deliver. And that backs against the wall kind of sensation, coupled with the fact that they're going to be playing alongside these edge guys, Patrick Payton, Jameer Butler, Jack Pyburn, Gabe Relaford, these guys who are really going to. There's a chance where Gabe Relaford, there's a world where he has 7 sacks this year, and I'm not surprised. Gabe Relaford, off the bench even. He's that good. And you could also include Harold Perkins as another edge rushing presence. But, Jameer Butler as well. LSU are just loaded with edge rushing talent or pass rushing talent, however you want to look at it. And you can also put Dominic McKinley through the interior there as well. It's a very talented front seven when you include the linebackers, Whit Weeks, Devon Keys, West Weeks. Harold Perkins is kind of in that star position, so we'll include him as a member of the front seven, though. So you got 2 absolute superstars already. One that's kind of had a breakout freshman year, Devon Keys, and is coming into his own. Tylen Singleton. Zach Weeks, 3 Weeks brothers, CJ, my man CJ. You got what linebackers am I forgetting here? We got to get the roster here just because I don't want to forget any of these. So you're stacked. You're stacked at linebacker. You're stacked at the edge. You're not really too stacked through the interior. but you've got some guys you can at least hang your hat on here. I think this hire, you know, there's a lot of people who said Kyle Williams, you're hiring a high school coach. Brian Kelly's hiring a high school coach. What the hell is Brian Kelly doing? This guy has become a joke. You know, you've heard it all. There's actually been a ton of criticism about this hire. I've kind of ignored it. If I'm just working on shit and just like hanging out with my family, you know, people I'm talking to and stuff like that, like I can just ignore this bullshit where, like, you know, this stuff about people ripping on Kyle Williams and stuff. How dare he is only a high school coach? Why they're ripping on Brian Kelly? It's like, shut up. Like, even LSU fans have been doing this. And it's like, shut up. Like, even if the reports are all true, that Chapman, that Joyner, that Al Davis, that Eric Henderson, I forgot him from before, Eric Henderson as well. Al Davis all said no to LSU. And then we got Kyle Williams. I still don't give a fuck. I love that this was the way we went. We didn't just go, okay, let's go get another outside hire. If you were going to do anything, maybe it's Jimmy Lindsay. You give him a second shot. You hired him before already. Maybe you give him a second shot at it. He had a pretty solid year at North Carolina last year. But Kyle Williams, I really wish we'd broken this story. This is such a fun story to break. Every LSU fan was loving this news that it was the homeboy. It was somebody every LSU fan can kind of rally around and say, we love that guy. He's a fan favorite beyond, you know, like he's somebody that is not just revered, but he's been sainted, you know. And so this was news we did not sleep at all the other night. We literally were up all night, and we were so close to doing this. So close. But there were some forces that were trying to make sure we lost this at all costs. But you know what? This was on us. This is completely on us. Our complete fault for falling into any trap set. And that's what happened. You get lazy and you pat yourself on the back and you think, oh, I've already solved it. It's all good. You don't keep digging, even if you think you've got the answers, and you run with it before you should. And that's what I did. And that was stupid as fuck. And I'll admit that. And we will never make that error again. We've made that error twice now that I can think of, where we also did this with Lincoln Riley being the next LSU head coach. Two of these reports, I mean, that's, you know, we've made mistakes. But, you know, we've made errors with like recruiting picks and stuff like that, you know. But all in all, I think we've had a good showing. We've had a good track record, and we've broken some news. We've done some good here. We've earned our place. We've earned our audience. We've worked for our audience. We've sweat blood for our audience. We've taken bullets for our audience, because there's times where we could have said, hey, no. This is our story, blah, blah, blah. We take credit for everything, blah, blah, blah. Screw everybody else. No, give me maximum attention, all that shit. We let the guys who reported that story yesterday kind of just enjoy being a clique that they are, and kind of just like have their day of glory, you know, like it's not like, I think, I don't know. I just think it's a tough business where you win some, you lose some, and some people are better at making it look like they're never wrong, and dodging the heat when they have been, than us, you know. And we're very honest about when we're wrong. We're very upfront when we're wrong about things. And maybe that's a shortcoming of ours. Maybe we should lie and hide and duck and obfuscate like a lot of people do, but we just kind of come right out and like, yeah, we got that shit wrong. Like, and we haven't had to do it too many times, but which is a good thing. We're still young at what we're doing, but I expect better from myself, and I let myself down. I let my audience down. I let you guys down. I let my family down. That was embarrassing. And I mean, oh man, it wasn't good. It was not good to have pushed that out, rushed that out like a rancid shit that's been boiling in your body for like a whole drive home from St. George or something. Like this was something that I should have waited for. If I had just spoken to one person, and the one person that was literally in the back of my head, I was literally in the back of my head saying, talk to this person, reach out to this person, talk to this person. You know this person's going to know, talk to this person. And I ignored that voice. And guess what happens? Kyle Williams is announced, and literally the voice is telling me to talk to the person that's literally at the center of a lot of stuff to do with Kyle Williams. And all these people were like, Lon, we told you to delete it and talk to us and call us, because they weren't going to text it to me. They wanted me to call them, and I couldn't call them in the situation I was in. I was driving or something. And then I completely forgot because I thought I had already broken the news and was good. And that's what happens when you get content, you get lazy, and you think you are better than you are, and you ignore the fact that sometimes you're just wrong. You're just going to be wrong. And I think that I kind of felt like I couldn't be wrong. And so I just was like, yeah, let's go. And like, I had some great sources on this story, but they were kind of caught up in the fact that Al Davis was offered. It made sense that he would come back and come back to coach, I should say, with his former coaching staff, Blake Baker and those guys, Blake Baker, Kevin Peoples, Jake Olson. But I banked on all of that information as proof, and that was so stupid. And so I'm totally, I know exactly what I've done wrong, and I know exactly how to fix it, and that is a good feeling. And so, as my friend Nick Saban would say, never waste a failure, and so we won't. But everybody, thank you so much for joining us. He's back. Kyle Williams, LSU legend, hired as defensive line coach, baby. And we'll be talking more about this. We'll be covering a lot more of this. Spring practice begins tomorrow. We're going to be talking about that coming up.